welcome back to the channel. So I finally did it. I broke down and bought a new compressor for the shop. I had been eyeballing these Eaton Polar Air compressors for a few months, and I was basically dragging my feet and hem-hawing a little bit, you know, deciding whether I really wanted to spend the money on this big and nice of a compressor. But I ended up doing it. But what I'm doing now is I'm just working on getting this beast off of this pallet here. I had a friend over yesterday to work on a engine block, and we were talking about how in the world am I going to get this thing off the pallet. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my 2-post lift here. I'm going to swing these arms in, and hopefully I'll be able to catch this platform here. Just real quickly here, the specs on this one, it's rated at 7.5 horsepower, but I think it's actually going to be a true 7.25 horsepower. It's an 80-gallon single phase 2-stage pump on here. This one actually cranks out quite a bit of SCFM. It's 31 psi, 31 SCFM at 100 psi. So this is going to be more than enough to keep up with what I need to do. The other thing just to mention on here is it's one of the lower RPM type motors, 1750 RPM, so that's going to be a bonus. 50 amp, it's going to require a 50 amp fuse, no big deal. I'll go ahead and get that put into my panel over there. And then it also has built-in inner and after coolers, which are going to be a really nice benefit. And then really just in terms of the warranty, all of them come with a standard 1 year. If you use their filters and oil, you can get a 5-year warranty, which I'm going to do at the very least. They also have a lifetime warranty where you basically sign up for auto ship, and they ship you the oil filter here, the oil, and then they also, I think, send the filters that go inside the Quiet Air box here. So I'm going to see if I can get this moved over, and what you can see is it's got a system or a series of filters here. They're just fiberglass batt filters, very much like what I would use like in a paint booth, right? And I actually have some of this material from a couple of jobs that I've done where I've made a little bit, I made some filter boxes for painting. But I'll go ahead, I think, like I said, these are going to come with the maintenance service kit that I'll get every 6 months, or I think 100 hours of service. I'd have to go back and check that. And then here you can just see right there that is the filter, or the muffler system itself. So again, supposedly this is supposed to be a lot quieter system. They also make their compressors in, this is basically the industrial version. They also make the compressors Industrial Plus. I opted to spend the money on the Quiet Air versus the Industrial Plus version, which includes a couple of other bells and whistles. So anyway, we're going to get this going. I'm going to hopefully be able to get it off the pallet. After trying a few different places here for the air compressor, I think this is where I'm going to end up leaving it, right here in the corner. This is basically where I had my old compressor and my toolbox. So I'm not going to have enough room for both the compressor and the toolbox, so it looks like I'm going to have to find a new place for the toolbox. I originally wanted to put the compressor kind of right here in this spot on the back side of the paint booth, but there was just a little bit too much slope to the floor. I didn't want to have to shim it, you know, excessively. So I'm just going to leave it right here where it is. It's actually sitting pretty level without any shimming, but it will take just a little bit, maybe a few shims, just to get it leveled out. It's shipped directly from their manufacturing site in Ohio, and this was made to order. I think that's probably what their standard practice is right now, is they're making all of their compressors made to order. And so it took about 4 weeks for them to get this produced and shipped to me. They ship it on a huge pallet, and I know a lot of guys will keep the compressor on the pallet and then just put that in the shop, and that's basically what it's anchored to. I am going to anchor it to the floor, but I'll talk a little bit about that later in the video. As I previously mentioned, a lot of guys will just go ahead and keep their compressors on the shipping pallet. And I don't really think that there's a problem with that at all. It works for a lot of guys and they don't have any troubles. I'm going to go ahead and just attach it to the floor using anchor bolts. And the primary reason for that is the pallet that this thing came on was huge. And it would really take a lot larger footprint for me to go ahead and keep it on the pallet. So I'm just going to anchor it to the floor. And what I'm going to use is just some of the traditional anchor bolts here that are made for concrete. I think this is a 1/2 inch by 3 3/4. It's just kind of what I had laying around. You could probably get away with like a 4 inch or a 4 1/4 or 4 1/2 inch anchor bolt. And in fact, that might actually give you a little bit more room depending on what you're using for pads, if you're using pads. So one of the things I was going to point out is that I didn't realize that the compressor came with pads. These are about 1/4 inch rubber pads here to just put underneath the feet. So I actually ordered some off of Amazon, and these are a lot thicker. And I thought, okay, these will be much better to use than the ones that came with the compressor. So this was the plan, to use these thicker ones. But in reading the owner's manual for installation, it actually has a comment that says don't use a pad thicker than 1/4 inch due to concerns with vibration. So I'm guessing that these would probably be okay, these thicker ones. But I'm going to go ahead and just use the ones that came with Eaton. I want to make sure that I follow all of their instructions. I'm going to actually be using their oil and filters for the limited lifetime warranty on this thing. So I'm going to just go ahead and use the rubber pads that came with the compressor. So what I'm going to do right now is I've marked where I want to start drilling the holes for the anchor bolts, and I've done that in each of the 4 feet on the compressor tank. So I'm just going to get down in here. I'm going to have to move this. I can't get my hammer drill on top of that hole without hitting the side of the compressor. So I'm going to go ahead and get all 4 of those holes drilled, and then I'm going to insert the anchor bolts, and then we should be able to get the compressor up over the top of the anchor bolts, and then we can start shimming it based on what we need to do. So I'm not going to worry about shimming it right now. I do have it pretty level the way that it sits now, but it's going to need a little bit of shimming. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till I get it on the rubber pads and see then what it looks like. And then if I have to either use some leftover shims from my 2-post lift or just make some shims, I will. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here and start drilling holes and get the anchor bolts installed. Okay, so I've got all the holes drilled here for the anchor bolts now, and I've got them all cleaned out. What I'm going to try to do here, rather than drive the anchor bolts into the concrete now and then tilt the compressor tank to pop up over the top of the bolts, is I'm going to try to install the bolts where the tank sits now. So I've already got the tank positioned over each of the holes. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and slide the pad underneath. So the rubber pad, I'm just going to slide it underneath, and then hopefully I'll be able to get that anchor bolt in just like this and then drive it in without the tank up here getting in my way. So it'll be a little bit of a trial and error to see if that works. Okay, so I've got the compressor anchored to the floor now, and everything is good to go here. I did have to end up shimming 3 of the 4 feet just to make sure that I got the compressor level. And so what I did is I just used some leftover shims from when I put my 2-post lift in. And then I also made a couple of shims myself, just using some washers, and cut a slot in them so that I could slide it underneath the pads here. and across the bolt to hold it in place. So everything is pretty much level. It's looking pretty good. Front to back here is level now, if you just look at the torpedo level. And then if we look up here at the top of the unit, I'm all level here. So we should be in good shape and ready to go. One of the things just to point out here, when I tighten down these bolts, I leave them just a little bit loose. I mean, I get them snug, but I'm not torquing them down excessively. I will, when I first put the nuts on, is I will go ahead and tighten them as tight as I can get them, because I'm trying to get that wedge anchor seated in there, right? So once I get the wedge anchor seated and it's cinched down, then I loosen the bolts and just put a little bit of Loctite on the threads, and then I just crank down the nut just until the slack is gone so that the compressor doesn't rock anymore. And once I get it to where it doesn't rock anymore, I cinch it up, that nut maybe another quarter turn, and go from there. So some of the compressor manufacturers actually recommend against tightening or torquing those down if you're anchoring them to the floor, and they just want to allow a little bit of room or flexibility for some vibration. So if you're putting them on a pallet, then you don't need to really worry about that, because your pallet kind of serves as a damper and it allows for a little bit of vibration. So the next thing that we're going to do here, now that it's anchored down, is we're going to start doing the wiring, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about the wiring and the process that I'm going to use. I'm not going to use a plug. I'm actually going to hardwire this into my fuse panel.